Hello and welcome to the Comicsiracy episode 574 for the week of Sunday, January
June
22nd.
You're jumping to
2023.
fucking June. Like,
Yeah, close. Soon.
Don't do that, man.
My
COVID
name's
messed
Ryan
with
Higgins.
people enough.
I know. Oh, trust me. This year's going to go quick. My name's Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
Kevin.
And Charlie.
Yay! More people.
Yes.
Hey, so if you're listening to this podcast, you may have just heard last week's podcast because something happened. We recorded, I posted it, and it didn't post, and I didn't realize till now. We've skipped weeks, so I wasn't. Nobody reached out and asked if there was a new episode because we have just skipped weeks before, but we legitimately did not skip a week. I don't know what happened. It just didn't post. So I guess you've just heard last week's.
Well,
where we talked about
Ryan, will there be some fresh hot takes?
Oh, they're always fresh hot takes.
No, are they
Where we
still fresh and hot a week out?
Well, let's see. We talked about not reading the 5G files on Bleeding Cool, which still no one has. I've not yet seen a one link to every article. So, because I don't want to read the 22. I think it was like 22
You
articles.
said yes,
wrote on
something
that.
20 something. Yeah.
I just want one, and then I will read it. Chat GPT and AI is still ruining everything. So that's
Well, that's okay. I got an email at work about that at my day job where kids are going to be using these things to write their own fucking papers. I'm like, it's not their own fucking paper.
Yeah. Silver Sprocket had some flooding damage. I don't know the update to their store, but I believe everything's okay. Just talking about Jason Pearson briefly. Artist passed away last week. Marvel Snap added all the credits to their card, and that's good. I mean, too bad the game sucks now, but
the game doesn't suck. The game is interesting. It's everything around the game.
Yeah, it's broken.
Yeah.
We got even more hot takes this week, though. We got a big, real big story, biggest story of the year so far to talk about. And
is that Avatar crossing the 2 billion mark?
I don't recognize that as a thing that's happening.
Oh, Kevin!
Oh, I should have put some cash on this. Damn, I am kicking myself. There are some.
Oh, I am.
There are some original art purchases that would be in my little clutches right now.
I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed. All right, I'm not surprised. Of course, it could do this. All 12 of them could. I'm disappointed in humanity. But really, that's no different than normal, right? I had thought humanity always makes the wrong decisions over and over and over again. And I thought maybe on this one they would make the right decision. They didn't. Again, should come of no shock. So yeah. No, we have to talk about ComiXology because that is the big story of this past week. And I don't know, Charlie, if you've been keeping up on this. Brock, I know you have. Kevin, I know you kind of have.
A little bit,
yeah. Charlie, you aware of what's happening in ComiXology?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a shadow of its former self at this point.
It's
toast. Yeah. So little history of ComiXology. When did it like really kind of start?
Wasn't it 2011?
No, so DC went day and date digital for New 52. That was when ComiXology kind of blew up because prior to that, the Marvel and DC stuff was not day and date. No, ComiXology started. I didn't look this up. I should have. I want to say like 2005. It may have even started prior to that. 2007. 2007.
Okay.
Yeah,
but they were starting to build some steam up, like you said, with the DC kind of day and date. But that was Rebirth? No.
When New 52. When New 52, DC went day and date. Right. When New 52, DC went day and date. Yeah, I'm not sure when they first started putting comics up. Yeah, I mean the pull list. 2009. Yeah, so 2009 is when the first digital comics went up on ComiXology. So by 2011, they went day and date with DC, and Marvel followed shortly after. Now, ComiXology, for people in the U.S., and I don't know how big it is outside the U.S., this is a place where you can buy digital comics, same as physical, same price as physical too, for new releases. And it sold to Amazon a while ago, and that was sort of the it sold to Amazon in 2014, I believe, and then it took a couple of years, but things started to change. I know we were a big supporter of ComiXology for years because they allowed us to sell digital comics. So we had our own digital storefront, and customers could use our storefront and purchase comics from us digitally through ComiXology. It was great. You know, for people that wanted digital comics, they had a way to still support their local store. We got a small cut. Worked out wonderful. Of course, once it went to Amazon, after a little bit, that got cut. You know, not many stores supported it, but we did, and we had a good following through it. 2021 was when the shit really hit the fan. We covered this last year, you may recall, where ComiXology was fully integrated into Kindle and no longer a separate part of Amazon. I say fully integrated. I mean, it was integrated, not quite fully. It sort of didn't work. They completely gutted major parts of ComiXology into Kindle with, to this day, big problems that still persist, and it's not the same site that it was before. But ComiXology still remained its own separate thing. Well, tech industry this past couple of weeks decided to let go hundreds of thousands of people across multiple massive companies, Amazon obviously being one of those two, and the ComiXology department was gutted. So initial reports were somewhere in the 50 to 75% of employees were laid off at ComiXology. Heidi over at Comics Beat did report that there's a skeleton crew left. They have obligations to publishers through June. I don't know what that means. And then a even smaller skeleton crew will go through, I believe, October, and that is a planned shutdown for ComiXology. I don't know, Kevin. I don't know if you've seen any other info date wise than that. That's the most recent I've seen. Not sure where where these dates come from or how firm they are, but that seems to be the believed plan here. Now, I don't know what that means. Does that mean all digital comics on Amazon are going away? Does that mean the ComiXology brand is going away and it's just going to shift into Kindle and with no real change from what it is now? My feeling is that they'll keep the digital graphic novels and kill the single issues. That's sort of my belief, because it doesn't seem like the digital single issues work very well through Kindle. So I don't know. Charlie, have you used ComiXology much since the switch over? Because I know you're digital on a bunch of stuff now.
No, I mean I've gone in there a couple of times because they've had very good sales occasionally on collections and that stuff. So I have some of the Color Usagi Yojimbo trades and stuff like that over there, but most of my reading is through the DC Infinite app or the Marvel Unlimited app. So
we'll get to those. Yeah, we'll get to those in a second. I wasn't sure if any of the changes to single issues, because I know it's much more difficult to buy single issues on there. And my guess is, since Marvel Unlimited really blew up a couple years ago in DC Infinite, I think it does okay. I don't think it's as popular as Marvel Unlimited, but I'm sure it does all right. Once those hit, I'm gonna guess the single issue sales through ComiXology plummeted to, I don't want to say zero, but the absolute minor, a very, very small fraction of a percent of what they sell.
Remember early last year, they had made changes that made the app virtually unusable. So the people that were using
that's what we were talking about.
But like that, and then you add on Marvel Unlimited and DC Infinite and all that stuff, and it's like watching something fall down a hill really, really badly.
Yeah, I think Marvel and DC, I bet their digital graphic novels through Kindle still probably do okay, because if you're a Kindle user, you're probably in the Kindle
sphere,
ecosphere, and you're going to buy stuff on there, and you're used to buying digital versions of books. I think you're probably okay.
I mean, when you talk about a lot of that stuff, there was some stuff that was already kind of made available through just Amazon Prime and that kind of stuff. And realistically, a lot of the stuff that's tempted me on there for the past couple of years has been like their Masterwork sales, where like each Masterwork was basically $1 and stuff like that. Like,
yeah. They do those like $1.99 Epic collections and stuff like that.
Yeah, and when they do stuff like that, it's easy to understand why that avenue is probably working out better for them than single issues that cost more than their sales on collections.
Yeah, because the single issue sales were 99 cents, right? That was always like the minimum price. But yeah, they would do the trades crazy cheap. So I would think that the graphic novels probably are doing okay. The digital graphic novels. If you just want the single issues, probably fine reading them on Unlimited and DC Infinite. Now, that's just Marvel and DC, right? I mean, that doesn't take into account anything else. Image, Dark Horse, all these other companies.
As I said, the main thing that would get my attention now with ComiXology was sales on the other companies' collections.
Right. And ComiXology Unlimited, right?
Yeah.
So that's still the big question to me is this part of the plan? Is single issues gone and ComiXology Unlimited is the just what it becomes, right? I don't know. Like it feels like it's not really. It's Marvel Unlimited and DC Infinite are very specific. ComiXology has everything. ComiXology Unlimited has a selection of stuff. So if it was, we're going to do small press, independent books through sort of, if ComiXology Unlimited becomes the Marvel or DC Unlimited for everything, that'd be cool. But I don't know if that's the plan. Nobody knows what the plan is, but I just don't see them supporting the single issue system into Kindle if it's busted, if no one's using it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's possible that most of the sales come from ComiXology Unlimited subscriptions and the digital graphic novels on Kindle. And if that's the case, then the single issues are gone, and you just dump them into Unlimited. So, but there's a chance that they could just get rid of it entirely, and it's just Kindle, and that's it. And Unlimited goes away. And the question now comes, what happens to people like Scott Snyder that has this ComiXology deal, right, for all his original books? Are those going to continue under Kindle? Did they just become another book published through Kindle like everything else? Who knows? It's real weird. And not like I didn't kind of see this coming. I mean, like Diamond losing Marvel and DC, ComiXology basically losing Marvel and DC. They're a massive part of the comic industry. That really's got to hurt. And I know the numbers on Marvel Unlimited are incredible, and I think the numbers on DC are decent. I don't think they're great, but I think they're decent. So there was concern of 2011 ComiXology ruining comic book stores and single issue sales. And well, we outlasted them again. So comic stores keep finding a way to stick around. despite everything being horrible all the time, according to people,
it's
and
like,
the entire industry
people
closing
want tangible things, like, because that's the thing too. Is like people are very hesitant with Amazon, especially with their ComiXology accounts. It's like, am I gonna still have this stuff? Like, am I still gonna,
digital stuff? Oh yeah, ComiXology goes away. I mean, unless you've downloaded your stuff from ComiXology, it's gone. So yeah, this is pretty big. And I think it's just kind of shows the struggle of digital comics, just not being like all the streaming it's the same problem all the streaming services are having, where they're like, this is the only way anyone wants to do it, but we're not making money on it. How do we make this profitable, right? So I don't know. It's big questions that are going to completely retool, do some other ad-supported version of ComiXology. I don't have any of it works.
So I'm going to get ads on top of the ads in the books I'm reading.
I'm just spitballing ideas because it's strange.
I mean, that if they were going to do a comics with ads in it, similar to physical books having ads in it, it would be at least somewhat interesting, because they would be able to possibly make the comics cheaper, if not some sort of rolling thing, and then just sell the ad space similar to shows and stuff, where you're not buying it forever. You can constantly cycle through new ads even for old comics and stuff, which is not something that they really have today.
Yeah, at $6 a month, I don't know how many people are using ComiXology Unlimited, right? It's $5.99 a month. Ad money make you more? It might.
Yeah.
The problem with ads, right, on a lot of the mobile games and the free games and stuff, the ad sticks around. On the show, it sticks. You got to watch it, or you got to fast forward through it. A comic, you're just like swipe. So unless it forces it to sit there for 30 seconds, which that wouldn't be good. That would. Some people would not care.
My kids will abandon mobile games quick if they can't close out once the time goes, because they make that close window so freaking small. Like, they hit it and it goes to the Play Store, and they're like, fuck, they're like, screw this, and they just they're done with it, right? Like, ads can help, but ads also, especially the way they're implemented, can ruin something.
Oh, sure. And like I said, this is all just spitballing ideas of what the future could hold for ComiXology, because if I had to put money on it, it goes away completely. Single issues basically go away, or companies sort of just fold them into Kindle. The graphic novel is no real change. It's just part of Kindle now, and there you go. Manga still part of Kindle. I don't know, and think too, right? We didn't even talk about Shonen Jump, right? The Shonen Jump app, which I'm sure cut heavily into digital comic sales because of how cheap that is. So, Marvel Unlimited, DC Infinite, still pretty good deals. If someone asked me on Twitter, they were like, do you think they'll go like day and date with that? Because we were talking about ComiXology, and I said that would be the step too far. That it's not the fact that the digital comics through ComiXology were the same price as physical. To me, I was all right. That it's parity, comes at the same time. Sure, if you want to buy it digitally, cool. If you want to buy it physically, cool. I have no problem with that. If it was Marvel Unlimited day and date with release, that I think would significantly cut into physical copy sales. That would be the one step much too far.
Well, the problem with that is you would cut your issue 1 sales to nothing. Because if you're day and date with a number 1 and somebody can just read the issue 1, they're not going to go into a store and buy that shit.
Well, again, some people will, but I wouldn't worry about the number 1s. I would worry about literally every other issue. That is the trouble. So I believe DC won 30 days, right? Which I know they were very concerned about. And one of the sort of things that they gave retailers was a returnability window for a lot of books, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any insider knowledge, but I could tell you I didn't return a single thing extra, right?
Yeah.
The people reading DC Infinite and the people buying, people reading DC Infinite 30 days after release and the people buying physical, there is just no crossover in sales, right? Sales completely
I don't
the same,
know.
no change.
I'm always curious just how much of a difference that date stuff means, just because there are times I'm up to date on my comic reading. I'm not saying it's 100% of the time, but in my time reading comics, the amount of times I've been up to date on more than a book or two at a time is very small. Like right now, as I said, I've been using Infinite, I've been using Marvel Unlimited and stuff. I am so far behind on books, I still haven't even caught up to where the app is with stuff. Like,
no, trust me. The only books I would be current on are that I would be behind on would be Stargirl and JSA, the two Jeff Johns books by DC. I switched over fully to Marvel Unlimited. So I used to literally in pre-Comic Hub back, way back in the day, I would just have a little stack at the store that I keep behind the counter and read through the books when I had time at the store. Because I like to keep up with all the Marvel stuff and the DC stuff I don't buy, and especially a bunch of the indies, right? And that stack became a bigger stack, and that bigger stack became a box. And there is not a point in the last 5 years that I've read a comic in the store flat out, right? I mean, I used to sit around the weekends and read all day, right? I have read zero comics in the store, short of Three Jokers #1 after we closed, before we put the book on the shelf. That is the only time I've read a book in the store in years and years. So for Marvel Unlimited is a great way for me to keep up with that stuff. I'm not current on fucking any. Dude, I'm reading like 2019 and 2020 shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm nowhere near. And DC, I'm much more current, but I'm not 30 days current on those books. I'm an issue or two back on pretty much everything. I've always been an issue or two back. I've always been an issue or two back.
That's where I get curious how much of a difference the date makes, because if I'm always going to be at least X amount of months behind,
why not just use the app?
Yeah.
But I don't want to, right?
No, and I'm not saying people should abandon shops. I'm just saying that I feel like the date question really works in the favor of people who are capable of being like, I'm going to pick up my books, I'm going to read them that night, and that has not been me for a long time.
Sure, but that is people. Yeah. And the day and date, to me, if it was on Unlimited, that would hurt sales. I don't think any of this does to this point. That would, because there is a percent, 10, 20% maybe. I think if I was to poll customers, less than 50 by sure, I would say close to 10 or 20% are completely current or like a week back. I mean, because I talk to people about this, right? Like regularly. The vast majority are like, oh no, I have 6 bags sitting at home to read. For the last 6 times I've been here, I know I'm the customers off the top of my head that I know that they get their books Wednesday, they read them Wednesday and Thursday, and they're caught up. All right, I mean, that is a very small percent. Yep. But I think the being out same day would be too much. And
don't get me wrong, I don't think they should do that either. I find it sort of fascinating, the argument around, I agree day and date's too far, but even like the 30 day, I'm like, if only I was 30 days behind on my reading.
Yeah. Yep. It's
so ComiXology is just going to basically.
Well, it already has, right? And
well, what's funny is if you're actually even
that's the question. What is
if you're on like the Wikipedia for ComiXology, the website isn't even ComiXology.com. It's Amazon.com/Kindle-DBS/comics /store/ it's not even. It's some random thing on Amazon.
I mean, ComiXology.com loads, but it just redirects you. It hasn't been that for years. Like, yeah, ComiXology has not been a site it technically was an independent site outside Amazon, but it was still ran through Amazon. And then when they did the big switch over, now it is fully part of Amazon and Kindle. So it's not, it's not, yeah.
I was just browsing while you guys were talking because I am one of those people who gets reeled in by all of those sales. Remember when they were having those insane sales maybe 2 years ago? I want to say.
I mean, they still have insane
They still have sales, but they had those things where it was like every week was, $2.99 omnibus kind of things. So I'm just scrolling here on another laptop while we're chatting, and I just went to my Kindle library, and every comic book I've bought, single issue and graphic novel, is now categorized on Amazon as a Kindle book amongst novels and everything else. There is no comics option in my account.
I found it really, really funny after the purchase that I would have to check the Kindle price for something and the ComiXology price. Like, it would sync to both libraries, but their prices would be different.
That's weird.
Yeah, right now, Charlie, it's just giving me my book library is my only option, and that includes comics and books.
Yeah, because it's fully integrated into Kindle now. So I don't, will they just get rid of the ComiXology brand entirely and it just says Kindle? I think it's possible, right? Like, it's not, it doesn't exist anymore. And I believe that's post October. That's it, right? I mean, it's done. So, unless they fix a way to subscribe to stuff, and if they're going to continue supporting single issues, I just feel like that. Does ComiXology do magazines? Or Kindle?
Probably.
Do magazines?
Yeah, you can subscribe. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, there's a precedence, I guess, for them.
I don't think they sell individual issues, but I think they sell subscriptions.
Right. You can subscribe to like digital versions of magazines. So yeah, I mean, I guess if they have that already, they could do that for single issues too. But it feels like the back end got completely gutted, and what made ComiXology work for new releases and crossovers and everything is just Amazon doesn't. This is always the problem with comics, right? Bookstores are like volume 1. Comic stores are like, we know how the tentacles work and where everything connects and how this stuff moves and variant covers. And so Amazon doesn't know shit about this, right? This is not their...
Honestly,
but ComiXology did, right? ComiXology knew how this stuff worked.
ComiXology knew how this stuff worked, but even ComiXology, I don't feel like this is what kind of amazes me about the digital comic reading. I'm just going to get on my little soapbox here for a second. It amazes me how badly all the apps are at routing you to, like, at the end of an issue, it should be, do you want to pick up this story in the next issue in this tie-in, or do you want to go on? But it's always like, just go on to this next issue. It doesn't give you any kind of control over, like, do I want to do this reading order or this reading order?
So with Marvel Unlimited, because I do check on this pretty regularly, they have the story, I believe they're called.
Yeah, you can pull up the storylines, but if you read a comic in that storyline, it doesn't take you to the next thing in that storyline. You have to go back to that storyline page and select the next issue.
Correct. And I find it is funny because I was reading Absolute Carnage, and then I went back and I was like, wait, it's like a bunch of crossovers that aren't in this like story list that they had. I was like, what the fuck? So there was like all these random one shots and like some couple crossovers. I was like, why is this not in this? This is part of the story.
Yeah, as I said, it would be so easy to fix this crap.
Yeah, I went on like some website that was like, here's the reading order. One of the reading order websites, and I was like, oh fuck, I didn't read any of these. I'll go back and read these. I mean, they're all trash, but it's like, whatever. If I'm gonna read them. So,
but it amuses me that you have to pay attention to reading order lists and stuff because the app is dumb enough not to factor that stuff in.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
In other breaking news,
all it would take is at the end of an issue, just give you a choice. Okay, I'll get off my... Yeah. This has been driving me crazy for years. For years.
Yes, I was trying to think of something else that you were angry about that's been years old. problem.
No, this is a regular complaint.
Yeah. Oh no, I know.
Unlimited. I don't. Does
DC's just?
do
I don't know, but
so one thing they've done recently with DC that I like is they've started putting out the graphic novel collections of stuff. So if you know, like, the graphic novel collection that has the reading order in the way you like it, you might be able to find it on there. But no, their navigating for issues is crap too.
Oh yeah, they're DC Infinite. So I've been using it more, and it's clunky as shit. It doesn't save your preferences for crap. So I constantly have to go panel view. What, like, I have to, every single issue I have to redo the like changing of my settings. When it goes to the end of something, it just goes to the next issue. And I just finished like Dark Crisis Young Justice. It didn't offer me to read Dark Crisis or anything. It just said, I don't even remember what it recommended, but there was no.
But it kills me because they have the lists and you can read something from the list, but it doesn't then keep you in the list when you get to the next issue.
Yeah, so at least I'm looking up the Superman War World saga, right? Yeah. Which is the Philip Kennedy Johnson, the more recent stuff. And this actually does have it in order. Now, I don't know if I finish Action 1035, does it take me to Superman and the Authority #1? I'm assuming no.
Nope.
But at least I can access them all from this list. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
But then you have to kind of back out, go to the list, select the next one, like the Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah.
Like, they both have the same really easy thing to fix.
Yep. Yeah, frustrating.
As I'm, again, scrolling through all this, Jesus. You know what? I could stop buying comics right now, and I would be reading into 2024. I didn't realize how much shit I have in this library from those sales. I'm talking about stuff going back to 2017 that I haven't even opened.
See, I'm just loving the fact that Kevin thinks he can get through it all in a year. I wish I only had a year worth of stuff.
Wow.
Well, this is, generally speaking, the stuff, again, there are holes, but usually I find Marvel, when they do their omnibuses, or specifically their Epic collections, that's when they're also putting up the digital versions of those same books, so, somewhat in that same era. So, like, if you see there's been a bunch of 2099 stuff on Marvel Unlimited because they're doing those omnibuses, right? So they're getting the files prepped, so they prep the digital files. I know our friend Miguel, he was complaining because they only did like the first, like, I don't know, like 30 issues of Alpha Flight, and they don't have like the other 100 in that series, right? But that's just because they haven't collected those, right? They haven't done any omnis, or they haven't done any epics past that. I think if you could spend less, but if you're buying omnis and epics on sale through ComiXology, just subscribing to Marvel Unlimited, I mean, I guess it's probably a wash at the end of the day, depending on how much you buy, right? So if you're like, I only care about 2 books, then yeah, it's cheaper. But if you're like, again, it's a Netflix model. I have everything, so who cares? It's just a yearly charge, and there it is. You don't have to worry about it. So I would think the better deal is still Marvel Unlimited and DC Infinite, unless you're like, I only care about this 1 random or 2 random books, and I'm only going to spend a couple bucks a couple times a year. So, yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking at my comics on Kindle, and this organization is garbage. And then I go to click like this, and I'm like, this is even worse. I'm like, I can't really get rid of anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, at this point, I just need the ability to filter away the Marvel and the DC so I can see just the...
Well, like, I don't need the sneak peek of Martian Manhunter that came out. Like, I don't need that book. Like...
So you remember when they gave away, like, every Marvel #1?
Oh, yeah, and they had that, yeah, that was that crashed the server.
I really regret selecting all of those.
I do like that my Kindle browsing history is all comic book stuff. At least that's accurate. It's like, based on your browsing session. I actually don't know. I don't know if it transferred over. Like, I don't buy stuff on ComiXology, so I don't even know if I have anything on here. I don't even know how to get to it. I don't have a Kindle. I have a.
You don't need a Kindle to read it. You just need the Kindle app.
Yeah, no, I have a Fire that I use for that stuff, and I use it for Plex and a couple other things. So, but I don't even see a way to. I don't even see a way to access what I have. Is it here? I don't need to do this while we're recording.
If you're on the ComiXology thing, you just go all the way over to the right.
20 minutes
my library.
Why don't we just all read our libraries out? What titles we have in our libraries? That'd be good.
Most of mine stuff that I already own that I love.
Yeah. Anyway, ComiXology, R.I.P. I guess you were okay for a while, but yeah. I got a couple of things to talk about here. We're going to talk about. I feel like I must have mentioned this, but I don't think we talked about it very much. It just came up because Heavy Metal, classic comic anthology, classic comic magazine, but now forever, is going to relaunch pretty soon with a new #1 because, sure. But they sold Heavy Metal, or Heavy Metal was bought, I guess, by Whatnot Publishing, the live streaming auction, or the live streaming sale website. And I find that just so fucking weird. Whatnot has put a lot of... I don't know if anyone's used or seen this site. Do you guys know what this is?
Not at all.
Whatnot?
Yeah.
I've never used it.
Whatnot.
Yeah,
it's a live streaming like auction site. So people, it's like Instagram live sales, Charlie, or Facebook live sales, right? It's a website for that, right? So people go on there and they sell their comics and shoes and Pokemon cards and whatever, right? And they do like it's all the live claim sales, right? It's like an auction. I don't exactly know how the auction bits work. Someone was explaining it to me, like they're really quick, and if more people bid, then they keep going. But I don't know if some of it's claim, some of it's auction. And like I said, I never really messed around with it. But they own Heavy Metal now. They've been putting out a bunch of books, and they own Heavy Metal now, which is really fucking weird. And Heavy Metal is just like churned through leadership. They have a new EIC.
When you started explaining all this, I thought you were going to tell me they auctioned off the Heavy Metal company.
No. Whatnot owns Heavy Metal. It's very strange. Yeah. Like I said, it's very, very fucking weird. They've been putting out a couple comics of, high quality books, but kind of like, well, does anyone like? They're just sort of random. They're interesting looking. They got some big names, especially on the covers and doing the art, like what's his face? Boss Logic did a cover for them, and so some pretty decent people have worked with them. David Mack does a couple covers, but it feels like a little, maybe, I don't know. Feels like a lot of money being thrown at something that probably is not recouping them that money. And Heavy Metal now is just churning through IPs to try to get made into movies and TV shows. They made some NFT bullshit, and it's like, God, why can't a comic just be a comic? It's fucking Heavy Metal, and this is the world we live in now, where it's owned by a live streaming company. Like, fucking.
Are we gonna do NFTs?
What the heck? Oh God. No. I won't even joke about that. No, but like, yeah, what a downfall for one of the greatest comics, most important comics of all time. Yep. Like some of the greatest creators ever have worked through Heavy Metal, and yeah, I don't know if it's just the format. Like, look. Heavy Metal Volume 2, #1 with a $10 cover price. This doesn't mean no good. Like, nobody cares. It's not that nobody cares. It's just like, it has like 5 variant covers or something. It's like, just make a good comic.
Heavy Metal magazine. Make it what it is.
Yeah. It went through a ton of bad publishing problems. There was all sorts of.
Remember when Grant Morrison was the editor-in-chief?
Yeah, that didn't last too long, huh?
Nope.
Yeah,
he had problems with management.
I just always think about Eastman.
Yeah, Eastman is there for a while, right?
Long time.
I think maybe it's a case of
a long time.
Ryan, do you think it's a case of it's a comic book anthology magazine at a high cover price that comes out monthly, that maybe there's just not a market for that anymore?
Well, and it wasn't even monthly. I mean, they were down to like 4 times a year.
Yeah, they were doing like they do like summer issue and fall issue and
yeah. I don't know if it's going to go quarterly or monthly. Or I don't know what the plan is. It feels like the market for the books that heavy metal traditionally has done isn't really around anymore. That to me is more the problem. We've seen this going through some collections recently. For Charlie, Trevor's dad's collection, we picked up like half his books. So you know what we're talking about here. And I look at this like just this who's who of 80s publishers that are no longer around, right? Just boxes and boxes of First and Arceal and I'm just trying to.
I'm blanking and I shipped this shit out.
Kamiko,
lots of Comico stuff. Just all. And like you see a lot of these like kind of heavy metal, European. Simon Bisley looking over the top sci-fi action, and just like that kind of that book's sort of just out of fashion right now. So yeah, I'm it's weird because like horror stuff is very, very popular in comics, but the kind of what heavy metal has done, I think their style is a little I think it's a tough sell. Anthologies have traditionally been harder sells in the US. Magazines, I get people all the time that are like, what is up with this Black Label format from DC? Why are they weird shaped? I'm like, they're just magazines. Like, this is the size of a magazine, people. Like, but nobody knows what this is. It's we've forgotten that these things all have always existed.
Well, the anthology thing is also an even bigger hurdle with this because it comes out so infrequently. You can't keep any kind of story momentum going.
Right.
So why not just wait for a collection, or why not just wait until they've put out a year's worth of issues and I can buy them all at once?
Correct. They've tried to put out some of the stuff in single issue formats, but then they had like weird covers that were not really indicative of anything in the story, and they were a weird trim, weird trim size. They were a weird sized book, like a lot of weird. Like, if you want to be heavy metal and put out comics, just put out comics. Just put out normal ass comics of what you think is the biggest stuff, and then do the magazine as just like a smaller, and stuff that just doesn't fit. But do one shot stories or.
Have top creators come and do a story specifically for your book. I
mean, if it's quarterly and you have continuing stories, you're not.
No.
That's
like
a
single,
sell,
like you,
right?
you have some of the rising creative talent go, hey, would you mind doing just a one shot story for heavy metal, right? Like,
Well, it seems like people that did subscriptions, these are all, there's a series of Bleeding Cool articles about this, and when the new CEO of heavy metal, so the this all started, the more recent story was that the CEO of heavy metal quit. So there is lots of problems, going into there's even more problems going into the Whatnot deal. And there was problems with delivery, like, because it is still a magazine, so there were subscriptions, copies weren't getting sent out. Lots of problems with ownership previous years. So feels like heavy metal was, I don't know. I don't want to say they can't turn it around, because sure they could, but are you just sort of like, is it kind of a cursed, do you just keep the title and just put out regular comics? right? You just don't put the magazine out, right? Because the brand is still popular, but if the magazine isn't working, maybe Heavy Metal should just do comics and just do regular normal comics. That might work. If you kill the anthology, I don't know, stuff to tell. But can't go a week without some part of the comic
Comics
industry
are dying. Something's dead. It's
dying and changing, rebirth, changing,
rejiggering.
I remember being at summer camp as not a little kid, but maybe like an elementary school kid.
That is a little kid.
And the older kids, okay, now I'm going to say middle school, and the older kids who were there were in high school, and they had collections of heavy metal. Like these guys brought them to camp and were passing them around, and it was like seeing something dangerous, you know, almost. I mean, even though because I had never been exposed to this stuff, but see, those guys didn't give a shit about comic books at all. They loved heavy metal and that sci-fi fantasy, like harder edge kind of D&D stuff that was in heavy metal. And so I would bet the people who have those interests now would have no idea where to find heavy metal if they wanted it.
Well, Fry's Electronics closed around here, so they don't have a...
Yeah, right, exactly. Go to your local head shop.
Yeah. Well, no, heavy metal was absolutely when I kind of graduated up from superhero stuff, and after reading for a couple of years, when I hit like middle teenage years, heavy metal was absolutely one of those first things I read, and it was like, oh my god, like, this is like adult, shit.
I can see the naughty bits.
Yeah, like this is some serious stuff, right? Like, and it was incredible, like, and they would occasionally reprint older stories and a lot of the European stuff. Very, very cool.
I remember the movie.
Yeah, movie's amazing. We'll see what happens to heavy metal. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in
what's going to be breathing longer, heavy metal or ComiXology?
Heavy metal.
Yeah.
I mean, heavy metal someone will take the name and the brand and do stuff with it. Like, I hate to say it. Did some wear heavy metal t-shirts and they probably wear heavy metal comics, right?
Because those t-shirts are freaking cool. That logo is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, like the brand is probably more important than the books they're putting out. I wonder if Whatnot will. I mean, they've got the money, so it's not like they can't do whatever the hell they want with this thing. I wonder if Whatnot will reconsider this as it goes on, because I think you merchandise heavy. I think you do single issues and graphic novels, and the magazine. I mean, it could do both. The single issues can be just what's in the magazine, or the magazine could just be the single issues. The magazine goes to the magazine people, the comics go to the comic people. That's kind of what they tried, but it didn't work. Like I said, they did it weird. They did weird formatted books and stuff, and it wasn't. They need traditional, normal size print comics for the direct market, graphic novels, and then
yeah. One of the things because I remember. I guess here's the thing with heavy metal. I remember flipping through heavy metal and maybe reading a thing or two, but it's not like I ever kept up chronologically with heavy metal issues or anything. Did heavy metal kind of function like Shonen Jump or whatnot, where it has a lot of different stories that are ongoing, or were they a lot of mainly just one shot or 2-issue things that jumped around?
Everything. Yeah, it was. Yep. They did single issues or single story. They had not ongoing, but 6-part chapters, random. Yeah, it was just an anthology, so it was different every time. Yeah, some stories continued. Yeah,
I was just curious, just because that for me is the heavy metal was definitely a different genre of thing, but I always kind of pictured heavy metal and Shonen Jump roughly the same thing, but Shonen Jump was smart enough to be like, we need to make this dirt cheap.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it used to be cheap. I mean, they used to be the same price as like comics. Yeah. It was 75 cents or $1 or whatever. Yeah. So it was never like crazy expensive. But that all comes down the print and run and publication. Shonen Jump could do it because it was printed on shit paper and it was printed in the millions. So heavy metal isn't. It's just a different thing now. One more little star, two more quick stories here. We do not have our full NPD book scan numbers for 2022. Those would be coming soon. We talk a little bit of comic sales chart stuff, at least from the graphic novel end of it. But according to Publishers Weekly, comic books, graphic novels, adult graphic novels. So there's this weird breakdown on how all the bookstore market reads comics. Stuff like kids comics aren't really included in this, but so there's different ways. Adult graphic novels, which includes a lot of manga, rose 4.6% over 2021, which was an amazing growth year. So graphic novels doing very, very well. It is the third largest category in units for all book sales, after just general fiction and romance. Obviously, romance is still incredibly popular. Incredibly popular.
Gotta love that smut
genre of comics. I believe the number that I've seen before was NPD. NPD and BookScan represent about 85% of U.S. booksellers, and that does include now Comic Hub. The couple hundred stores that use Comic Hub report to NPD, so those are actual sales. These aren't orders by stores. We are. Yep. So the hundreds of copies of Mouse we sold last year are on NPD. And we are far from the only one, right? Many people sold hundreds and hundreds of copies of that book.
Ryan, that was not in 2022, was it? That Mouse thing?
No, sorry. Well, this is the...
your controversy with Mouse, was that 2022?
Yes.
Are you freaking serious? Yeah. I would have guessed like 2020.
No, that was 2022.
Oh my God.
Because I finished it up. I finished it up in the summer.
Yes, the summer of 2022.
Yeah, because April. It happened around February, March, and we couldn't get books because they were in the middle of print runs.
It was February.
And so we were,
okay, well, that makes me feel a little better. At least it was early.
And then we couldn't get copies of it because it was in the middle of a print run, and we had all of those issues with stuff getting printed. Yeah. And then we finally got the book in, and I spent the entire month of June into July, May, June, July, getting
multiple giant shipments. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
So book sales in general were down in 2022 over 2021. However, comic sales were up, which is great. So
when you have a sales growth year in 2021, according to this, of 109.3%, you're going to have a little bit going down coming out of a pandemic where people aren't spending money on stuff to do at home. They're getting out of their homes.
Contrary to popular belief and the stock market and corporate execs, you could not have sustained growth forever. Things change, things slow down, things adjust. You're looking at long-term sustainability, or at least some level of growth at certain key moments. I think I talked about this on our podcast a few weeks ago, right? I mean, our sales were slightly down in 2022, but of course they were, because there was just a different set of products. And if we lost 80% of our sales, or even 20% of our sales, that'd be one thing. We didn't. It was a couple percent, and that's a couple big customers.
You didn't have Doomsday Clock taking 3 years to come out. You didn't have
just a couple of those big releases didn't happen in 2022 that happened in 2021. Slow down on some back issue stuff. I mean, this is just how this works. Yeah. So,
but your omnibus sales have increased.
Back up.
Omnibus sales have increased.
I mean, yes, but yes and no. So there was definitely a slowdown in the back half of 2022. 2021, we were selling everything. We couldn't keep anything in stock. So we'll know more book scan when that hits. But for now, comic sales in the book market, and very, very good for 2022.
So I'm kind of curious, just because it's yes, omnibus sales have been going crazy for a while now, but it went crazy to the point where we're seeing reprints of stuff that's only like a year old or something, or not even a year old in some cases. Some of the reprints that have come out were books that came out 6 months before or whatnot. Is that part of the reason why you feel like you might be seeing a slowdown, just because of the amount of them that are reprints versus new?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of both,
It's also
right?
oversaturation.
There's just a lot.
Yeah.
If your average customer is going to spend $100 once a month, a couple times a year, 5 times a year, and you're trying, Marvel's up to something like 3 or 4. They're basically an omnibus or 2 a week. I can't sell 100 Marvel omnibuses.
So
100 different
with a variant
on the same level. Because you're starting to get to some. You're past some of the bigger material, right?
Yeah.
When you're into something, you're like, do we need this Stanley 1961
Knights of the
omnibus?
Oh yeah, those omnibuses for a particular month of a particular year always weird me out when I see those.
There's some questionable stuff. So, there's some of the modern stuff where I'm like, okay, there's a Nick Spencer Spider-Man Omni. Do you need 2 variants on that as well? Like, there's too much. I don't care. I don't mind if every series gets an Omni eventually, right? Like the Immortal Hulk one coming out, just one omnibus. That should be a very good seller because it's one giant book. It's the first time in that format, right?
Yeah.
That should be a good one. When they just brought back House of M. I think we had like 3 or 4 pre-orders on that. Again, so that omnibus has been gone for a while. When they brought back Infinity Gauntlet, that did really well. Already out of stock. We'd sell more if we got it in. Like volume 6 of volume 5 of like the Peter David Hulk. You start to see some struggle there. So
yeah, no,
not that it's
I
a
was
bad
mainly
book,
curious because I know they recently did a reprint of the Wolverine Volume 2, which was not that old. And I know you also have the Dan Slott She-Hulk, which I was excited that they did the reprint for. But again, it was fairly limited amount of time before suddenly those were back orderable with the new printing.
Yeah,
because we also had or some of the omnibuses that are coming out, you ordered in 2021.
Some of them have been delayed pretty heavily. Yeah, I'm definitely ordering way less now, less copies overall. So we're still getting some delayed ones, and then some I ordered recently, and I'm like, yeah, this will even out. So
yeah,
but there's some that have still been delayed,
and we're still waiting on the rest of the Jason Aaron omnibus run that hasn't. They haven't even solicited it yet, and it's and people are wanting this. That one sold a lot.
Which Aaron?
Thor.
Didn't they just reveal the information for the next one on that?
Did they?
Yeah.
I mean, I know they have stuff gets released before it actually shows up in solicitation. So it's possible they announced it and I just missed it, but it's not been in. I haven't seen it.
I'm not saying it's in previews, but I'm pretty sure there's a month associated with it now. I just don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember what that announcement was, but I remember seeing the announcement.
I know there's a YouTube channel that gets all of the omnibus news, and that's where I don't watch it, but people link to it, and that's the only time that's where I see the stuff getting announced.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where I didn't watch. If I ever open up those videos, it's just a fast forward to where it just says the title. But most of the time, somebody will post in the comments on what the Omni that was announced was, so I can determine if I care enough to actually.
The Omni Reddit has a regular updated list of release dates. Yeah, DC's been pretty slow, but they're putting out a couple.
Just to get on the subject of Toby for a second here, it always amuses me when he asks me, "Is such and such Omni next week?" I'm like, I have no fucking clue between all the delays and everything. I can tell you when it was originally supposed to come out, but. Yes, until something ships, I don't really count on it any date.
Yeah.
I've been way too many times on that.
Oh yeah, no, they shift all the time. They shift all the time. The final story this week. We're gonna go once back. DC. DC Universe, or sorry, DC Studios, and the upcoming movies. We still waiting, James Gunn. Still waiting on the announcements. Any day now. Said January. January's almost done.
You'll get
Should
it like
this
you get
week.
your W-2 at the end of the month.
If not Friday, if not next Monday or Tuesday. However, there was an interview with Jason Mamoa where he said, well, let me get to the actual quote here. I love James Gunn, and so there's going to be some really cool things what they're doing with DC, and I definitely will be in more than just one, meaning more than just one movie, not just Aquaman coming up. There's room for me to play a couple different roles. I've seen other actors do it. Yeah, I want a shot. So there's your possible confirmation that Jason Momoa will remain around as Aquaman.
And
the big rumor was that he wants to play Lobo. And again, I feel like Lobo's a CG thing. Maybe he can play him, but he would be Lobo and Aquaman do not look alike, so you can make those characters very distinctly different, even if he was live action playing both at the same time. So I feel like Aquaman's going to stick around. The first movie did so well. If the second one even makes
God, how long has it been
near
since
what
that
the first
movie?
one made?
Yeah,
Aquaman, 2017.
Jesus,
is that right?
We should just have a segment, a game of guess the year that the following thing happened.
I want to say December 2017.
No,
sounds right. Shazam was summer 2017.
No, Aquaman
right?
was 2018.
Same year? What was it? Was it December 2018? Okay. Was Shazam summer 2018 then? Because I think they were both the same year. Because they're the same year again.
See, now I'm just sitting here going, how long did it take us to get the entirety of the Nolan trilogy?
Because it was December, and Shazam was 2019.
Yeah. Oh, it was after. Okay. Why did I think Shazam was before? Oh, okay.
Remember 2019? Remember 2018?
Yeah.
I
remember it fondly. At this point,
I mean, Aquaman's pushed. I mean, at least as long as they get it out before Avatar 2 year, we're good, right?
Well, these movies have been also very delayed, right? Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. No, they were both supposed to have been out. Yeah.
I'm not surprised or knocking how long it's been for any other reason other than the fact that it amuses me greatly when you start just thinking about how much time has passed between this stuff where it's like this was instantly greenlit, instantly going, and then everything just went to a halt. And
yeah.
Hey,
there's been some
question for you guys. Knowing only what you know right now, so don't give me any song and dance about, I need to learn more. Based on the information you have right now, are you more interested in seeing Shazam 2 or Aquaman 2?
Oh, Shazam. I mean, I'm excited for Aquaman as well, but Shazam, I believe Aquaman's a big enough character that he'll stick around in some fashion, whether it's Momoa, whether he comes back. Shazam, I don't know how many shots you get. I would think we don't.
You're not going to get your Mr. Mind
in our lifetime. We'll see.
Sorry, Kevin.
We'll see.
Brock, which one are you more excited to see?
Aquaman, probably. Like, Shazam is fun and it's like family oriented, so like, but I kind of I need that big comic book movie again because I haven't really been getting it in like we used to. So,
Charlie, what do you think?
So this is one of those things that bothers me because the answer is Aquaman. I'm more excited for at this point, but a large part of that is just because I feel like I want to see what they do with the next Shazam movie, but it really, really frustrates me that they kind of went, no, we can't have Black Adam in this. And like, especially with the way the first one got sort of left off, I was more excited to see what they did with the next one. And then they put out the trailer, and I'm like, are they just ignoring where they left things in the first one? So, I don't know. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like they had a vision on the first one and then just went, scrap that. Let's just go back and write a different script. And that frustrates me because I really liked where they were going.
I'm down for both.
Well, of course.
Big year for DC.
I just said more excited. That's all. Yeah. I didn't doubt you would be seeing both. Come on. You saw Morbius, dude. Of course you're seeing both DC movies.
Blue Beetle could be fun too. I hope they do okay with that. I hope that's interesting. It seems like it's fun. You know, DC dipping into like the teenage hero thing should be good for them. I don't know. It's hard to be Spider-Man, but at least try something.
Isn't it Flash this year?
What am I missing? Yeah, Flash. Yeah. I'm going to be gone when Flash hits. That's going to be interesting. I wonder if I'm going to see that in Flash when I'm gone, or if I'll wait till I come back and see it. I don't know. Go watch Flash
in Japan.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch Flash.
Nothing says valuable vacation time like carving out to do an activity that you could be doing at home.
Don't even get. Let's not even bring up flashbacks of what Ryan had to do on his honeymoon.
Right. I wasn't going to go there, Bob. For new listeners.
Talk about ComiXology saving his ass.
Well, I bet Flash won't even be out like when I'm gone, like because it's Japan is horrible for theatrical U.S. releases. Like they bomb. Nobody watches them. Nobody cares. I when they come out, they're like months down the road, and nobody watches them. So yeah, I wonder if it'll even be showing when I'm there. Oh, we'll see. I already know I'm going to miss some concerts, so it's all right. That's all right. That's it. Wonderful podcast. Thank you all.
No listener questions this week?
No, we had some last week.
Oh, okay.
I had one or two last week. Yeah.
I don't know. They'll know more than we will because they'll have just heard it.
Heard last week's podcast.
They'll only be an hour or two away.
Sorry, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
It's okay. You're just doing a double feature this week.
Yeah, it's not going to be one episode. Week. I mean, they're going up as 2 episodes, so 2 separate episodes. So if you listen to this one first, go back and listen to the other episode. Should be on your feed too. Anyway, we're going to thank our top tier Patreon backers. That's Joe Duff, Kelsey May, Craig Anderson at ClearPathCoaches.com, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, and Talon Bray. Thank you all very much for your support. Patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. You can head to ComicConspiracyPodcast.com. Find all our previous episodes along with Apple Podcast and all your podcast listening devices. Comics Conspiracies, where you can go to pick up comics from us. And we actually, I had at least one person, I had at least 2 people reach out to me about this, based on the ComiXology stuff, about buying comics from us more regularly. ComicsConspiracy.biz, you can buy stuff on there. But we do subscriptions as well. Customer.comichub.com. You sign up for an account there, select our store. It's like a weird map thing you have to search. I really don't like that, but whatever. Or just hit us up. We'll give you the info on what you need to do. Set up an account. If you do subscriptions, if you're looking for physical comics, mail order, or pick up at the shop, we have a lot of customers that do that. So that's always, you can just buy stuff off our website too. But if you do subscriptions, that's, it's helpful.
And the mail order, if you're concerned about it, apparently I shipped out a box that somebody was like, oh my God, it's destroyed. Everything inside is going to be, pristine? What the fuck?
Yeah. Not the first time we've gotten a response from someone that UPS or the USPS like threw the box into a fucking volcano, and the books came out fine. Baby. So yeah, Brock Baxwell. ConspiratorBrock.com, Brock's website. You can go check out his work. Go over there. Yes.
I have a question about your subscription service, just because I'm curious.
I
remember, at least with the old system prior to Comic Hub, you had some subscriptions for like you want all the Sinestro Corps War issues, including all the tie-ins, you could subscribe to that. Does Comic Hub give you the ability to do better subscription reading lists than the apps do?
Why, Charlie? Reading lists. I mean, no.
I mean,
because
this
stuff
is like a
disappears.
subscription to all the. I'm saying at the beginning
Yes.
of Dark Crisis, was it easy for people to subscribe to Dark Crisis and all the tie-ins, even if they were in other books?
Why, yes, there's two ways to do that, Charlie. Thank you for asking. The first way is if you are in store or contact us directly, there is a crossover function that we can subscribe you to. So let's say Dark Crisis, you wanted all crossovers. That is a one click in the system, and you will be automatically signed up for every book that crosses over with Dark Crisis. Assuming it gets put into the crossover list, and it generally does. That we've had stuff where there was an issue of like I Am Batman,
that
was listed as a crossover, shipped with no crossover cover, but the issue was a crossover. Kind of like loose, but it was. So there's weird ones like that which might get missed or might get added and you don't actually want. But
it's normally in titles that aren't going to have Dark Crisis in the heading. It's going to be some random issue of some random book.
Yeah. But like the issue of Monkey King that came out this week, it says Lazarus Planet crossover right on the cover. So yeah. Or if you are on your customer.comic hub account or your customer app, if you have signed up for any issue that's part of that crossover, there will be a nice little carousel that shows you every book that's part of that crossover and your status for them if you would wish to sign up for additional books. So you can go and look and if I look up right now, I think Return of Kal-El is still active on my list. Let me check because those are still coming out. Let it load. This recommended next week's item. Oh, Dawn of DC is on here. So all the first issues of Dawn of DC are on here. Lazarus Planet's on here. So it shows me what's on order for Lazarus Planet crossovers, what's available to order, which includes all variant covers, and then all tie-ins that I'm not subscribed to. So yes, Charlie, there's very easy ways to find these. If you subscribe to one, even if you're just like, I get Batman and Batman crosses over with Dark Crisis, that Dark Crisis list will be on your account because you get one part of it. You don't have to ever look at it, but it's there in case you want to use it. So, yes. Is that your question?
Yep.
Excellent. Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast. That's Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. 11 months to go. Isn't it December? It's end of year, right?
So, the 3 specials are in November. Because of the 60th.
Ooh, November.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Sure, of course. It's all November. Okay.
Yeah. So those 3 specials are in November, and Russell T Davies recently said there would also be Doctor Who for Christmas in December. So there'll be 4
specials. That's kind of what they did with the Tenant, right? At the end of his run was multiple specials.
Yep.
Is he going to be at Gallifrey 1?
Jodie's going to be at Gallifrey 1.
I thought I saw something that said Russell T Davies was going to be there too.
Oh,
no,
maybe.
I saw Jodie Whittaker was going to be there. Yeah. I thought that was because I don't think he's Ben, right? Am I right in that? Am I wrong?
Apparently, it seemed like a big deal. Going to be there.
The better question
people were making a big deal that Davies is going to be there.
Is Charlie going to be there?
What is Gallifrey 1?
No, I don't think so this year. Even though you can tell I've been watching it enough to be like, I don't think.
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought I saw his name on the list.
No, but Chris Chibnall apparently was added since I looked last.
Okay. Maybe it was Whittaker then. Maybe it was Jodie Whittaker was the big deal.
Yeah. No, I mean basically they've got not necessarily everybody involved with Power of the Doctor, but between Jodie, Ace, and Tegan, and now Chris Chibnall and Colin Baker is the Doctor there this year, and most of the companions that appeared in that also seem to be, well, not Ian, but yes, there's a lot of tie-ins to Power of the Doctor all at Gallifrey this year. And then I'm sure next year will be all about
the
60th and everything.
I'd be big if Tenant's there. Yeah. Head over to fanbasepress.com and read Kevin's interview series between the panels. Weekly series goes up every week, interviewing some big creators and little creators and unknown creators and cool creators and maybe not cool creators. I don't know.
No, there's a stronger. There's a screening process for that.
They're all cool.
Yeah, there's no way you're gonna get some ComicsGate lackeys on that.
Well, I got a triple size Ethan Van Sciver interview coming up next month. Ryan's going to be tagged on every channel.
Like, I wouldn't even mind that if he would, like, not you, but I mean, like, if someone grilled him on, like, and he actually would.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I wouldn't read anything. Douchebag asshole all rolled in one.
I wouldn't read anything he did, but if like Graham McMillan did like a giant interview with him or David Harbour or someone like that, that would be interesting to read because I'd like to see what the fuck what's going on in this guy's head sometimes. But
frogs.
No, I don't think Kevin will be
cybernetic frogs,
Cyberfrog anytime soon. My wife Leanne has her Etsy store at etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art. You can see her art at leannehill.com. If you're on Twitter, you can give us a follow while the site still exists. Ryan Higgins, Ryan, Brock Sager, Toby is Toby XI, Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. Kevin, is that Kevin Sharp? Store is Comics Con Store. Check out Geekbox. Should have a new episode this week.
As long as they click submit and it processes.
Yeah. And our friends at Manga Machinations, go check them out. Talk about manga and anime. That's it. That is it. We will see you next week. Goodbye, everyone.